This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
J-E-T-S. What a game, man. I'm on cloud nine still. I'm sorry, but dude, when you're a big Jets fan and you have a history of losing and you're 6-3 and you just beat the Bills, who are arguably the top 2 or 3 best team in the league, man, that feels good. That feels good. The young Bulls, the young Bull Jets, man. Man.
You know what feels good too? Feels good when you cancel a podcast show and your people come on Facebook and just weep. I mean, openly weep and cry and complain. And, I mean, it makes me feel good though. It's one of those things that it's like, come on guys, but at the same time it makes me feel good. But listen, you have to respect our people. You have to respect the Sweep the Rack people for sure. But guys, relax. I was taking my mom to a World Series game. All right, everybody, calm down. Okay, I had to post the picture for my for people to relax and calm down so they could see that's what I was busy doing. So we went to the World Series game. The Phillies lost. Right. Okay, that's fine. And, got to see a World Series game with moms. So that was cool. It was fun. It was a good game,
Dude, that's awesome, man. Man, look, hey, we have personal lives too, and you can't miss an opportunity to take moms to a World Series game. That's essentially knowing the Phillies. That could be a once in a lifetime, thing for, especially just the Phillies and the organization. So, I mean, you never know when they're going to go to a World Series next.
Oh, Nico, come on. I know the schedule came out, but there's plenty of time to talk about the schedule. All right. They're not starting until February. There's plenty of time to talk about the schedule between now and then.
Adam, man, good to see you. Nice PBA tour. Can't wait to get back to Portland, Maine. Yup. League's going back to Portland, Maine, but you're going to have to wait. It's not until I think, September? End of September. So, yeah, we're going to get into some of the specifics of the schedule. Tim Sorrells, hello from Indiana. My boy Ed Lipinski got me hooked.
Shout to Ed. It's one of my guys from Jersey. What's good?
Tim, let us know what your favorite episode has been. I mean, how far back have you went listening? Because people, we're going on 9 seasons right now. I mean, we have 20 episodes a season, and I keep track of it when I input it in our audio so people could download it. We've been 9 seasons, 20 episodes. So, I mean, we're looking, me and you we're looking at Simpsons numbers. I think by the time this is maybe all said and done, we might be in our 60s doing this. But appreciate the support. Man, the comments are coming in hot. Sunday night, people, I like Sunday nights. We used to cut a lot of our audio on Sunday nights.
Yeah, it was when we first started out. Sunday nights was kind of our night to interview, put things together, do our episode, and then you would chop it up, and it would usually come out Tuesday, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, we have to switch it up here sometimes. People got to relax, yo. People got to relax. We got things to do. Sometimes it's necessary. All right, Rob.
What's good, man? What's happening?
Let's talk bowling.
Yeah, let's talk bowling. So PBA schedule came out. Actually, you know what? Before we get into PBA schedule, real quick league review. Nothing really special.
I didn't bowl last week.
You didn't bowl?
No. The wife had back to school night or parent teacher conferences on Tuesday, so I was in charge of transporting kids from dance to soccer, and I didn't bowl on Tuesday night. But can I say that's one of the things I like about the format that I'm doing right now is that you don't have to show up every single week. and there's no pressure to get a sub. There, you don't have to do anything. You're just not showing up for that week. So, I didn't bowl this week, but they did have 18 guys, which was nice to see. So, we keep growing. We keep growing. We're growing little by little. We're getting more people involved. Like I said, I think I got to figure something out for the scratch side of things. For next session. But yeah, numbers are growing. Things are good. People seem to enjoy it and like it. I like it myself, especially the no commitment is the thing that I like the most about it, is that if I can go, great, I can go. If I can't, I don't feel like I'm letting anybody down. I don't feel like I don't have pressure to get a sub or find somebody to replace me, right? And, that kind of loosens things up a little bit. So, didn't bowl this week. I'll be there on Tuesday, though.
That's good, man. It's good. Yeah, dude. Real quick, I bowled like 676. We lost. We got crushed. Team didn't bowl real well. I have been figuring out some stuff though. So if anybody's wondering, no, I've been struggling on the house shot, and I use that in a weird way because the house shot is a real touchy. But I've kind of figured some stuff out, and real quick, I've learned that my ball speed was way too hard and my hand was way too around the ball to be successful on that certain house shot. So the good thing about bowling on a shot every week is that, I consider myself a decent versatile bowler. Like I could make moves with my hands and my speed. And the one good thing about bowling league every week, and they don't change, is that you could, when you figure it out, you could start bowling, better. So my key is to keep my ball speed down, keep my hand in the back of it in a better spot, but really slow it down. And once I started focusing on that, I was able to start moving more left, and I was using the wet dries to my advantage. If I missed right, I was able to get the ball hooked back, not too much. And if I missed in, the ball still was slow enough where it would still hit the pocket. Carry, on the other hand, is a nightmare in that building. I am literally battling 7s and 10s every shot, regardless of what ball I'm throwing. But I just switched to a reality check. Been throwing that this past week, and that looked a lot better. So, yeah, we'll see. We lost, though. I think we'll bounce back this week, though. But we're still in the top 3 or 4 of our division. So, yeah, that's my league review. Hopefully I can stay above 650s the rest of the year. But right now I think I'm 210 or something, which is, still kind of low for me. But whatever.
Sandbagging low.
Yeah, maybe. So, all right, let's talk PBA schedule.
Hold on before we do. Sent out a rosin bag earlier this week, 2 rosin bags, I think. And this guy got his rosin bags. Yes, I did label them Big Mike on the box. And he won first place at his house shot roll-off today. See that? We always say, buy the rosin bags, guarantee yourself bowling success.
So funny. Dude, that rosin bag has been a super luck box for a lot of people who get it. I don't know. So
hey,
yeah, man,
we have more. We have more people. If you want a rosin bag, email us, set us up. We have more. If you want to improve your own bowling just by purchasing a rosin bag, no problem. We got you. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Lindy's bags, by the way. High quality rosin bags. If you need rosin bags, if you maybe own a company, you have a league, you have a team, you want to get the matching rosin bags, hit Lindy up. He can help you out. Very high quality stuff. But if you just want a sweep the rack rosin bag, hit us up and we got you.
Gotcha. All right, Mike. 2023 PBA schedule finally got released November.
In parts, right? So they released it.
It was a little bit of a shit show, I think, right? There was some drama, no?
Yeah.
Now, what was the drama?
Well, because I think it was accidentally released, and Jeff Rickles kind of reported it and put it out there. But again, that wasn't the whole schedule. No, right?
I don't know what happened. But I think was it Riggles or Wiseman? I believe it was Riggles posted the schedule pre.
And Lucas Wiseman did too. Yeah, at one point.
Yes, I don't know, but what happened? What was the drama around there? But I know there was a little bit of like it got released early, and then it's I don't know, whatever. I don't really. It's not really anything worth getting into. Okay, so Mike, let me go through the schedule real quick for the people in case nobody's really people knew the schedule, but they want to get into kind of specifics.
Right, just to follow up, Shep Ramsey in the chat saying that now I remember. Lucas put it out and said that it was the TV schedule from the Bowlers Journal, right? So he found it in the Bowlers Journal and he put it out, and that's correct because what first got put out was only the TV schedule, right? It wasn't the full actual schedule. So
so someone screwed up from Bolero and PBA.
Well, maybe, I don't know, or Bowlers Journal, or I mean, listen, we know what their website is like. In fact, today Tom Clark put out a thing saying, hey, you can register for the national tournament that Bolero's having. And then somebody I follow on Twitter came on there and said, I just went to register and none of the information is working. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like that's so typical of Bolero, and just their website, the PBA as well. But to the point that was being made there, that is how the information got released. Then the PBA actually released it and followed that up with not only the TV schedule, but also the extended full schedule of the I guess you'd call them non-televised stops at this point.
So there's another schedule here for the 8 tournaments?
There is. Yeah, there's a full schedule out. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta try to find that.
Yeah, if you go to the PBA website and then go PBA Tour website. And then just go schedule, right? Not TV schedule, just schedule.
Do I want to go to this website? Tour schedule, not TV schedule.
Yeah, Nico also put it up on our Facebook.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. So I'm going to go off this right here because I think this is more of a kind of a talking point here. So the PBA Tour is opening up with the U.S. Open. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Hate it.
Why?
Why would you open the season with, the hardest, most prestigious tournament? Why wouldn't you have that a little bit later in the season where, guys have a chance to get out there, get some competition under their belt? I mean, I don't know. I hate that. I hate the U.S. Open being the first tournament.
Okay, so
I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of this schedule. I'm not I'm not a big fan of the schedule in general. But I do love the changes that they're trying to make. I do love some of the things they're trying, but I'm not a fan of the way they have it set up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. We've talked about this. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but opening up with the U.S. Open is stupid. It's dumb. And
Nico's saying they have no control over that. It's the USBC, but I don't know about that, Nico. I think that there's got to be some collaboration between the PBA and the USBC in terms of the Fox deal and what they want to do and what they want to present and what dates they want to present it on. So I do think there's probably some collaboration there. And yeah, honestly, I think if I'm Tom Clark, if I'm the commissioner of the PBA, and somebody suggests having the U.S. Open as the first tournament, it behooves me to make a phone call to whoever that is and say, nah, I don't think this is a good idea. How about the Masters as the first tournament? We're gonna talk later about every Tom, Dick, and Harry registering for the Masters. Why not make that the first tournament? Out of the gate. I mean, I understand a lot of it has to do with travel and where you're at and the logistics of things. But again, I just don't like the U.S. Open. Again, the most coveted major, the toughest challenge, the most exclusive field is going to be the first tournament of the year. I don't know.
And no, you see, and then so you look at the tournaments that come after that. It goes like the Springfield Classic, the Shawnee Classic, the Wichita Classic, the Jackson Classic. These are all within three pretty much following weeks after weeks. Why not put those first and then maybe finish up that stretch with the U.S. Open in Indy? I would be okay with that if they had 4 tournaments, which none of these are on the TV schedule. So the PBA has yet to announce where these will be streamed. But they did mention that there will be a streaming service, so they're not gonna like get rid of. I guess we were afraid that there wouldn't even be a streaming, for a lot of these tournaments. But they did bring that up in their press release that there will be some way to watch these, other tournaments that won't have TV rights. So it goes U.S. Open, Springfield Classic, Shawnee, Wichita, Jackson, and this is all within February, March, which isn't exactly the greatest time to be in the Midwest at pretty much dead middle of winter. So I don't know. Not a big fan of the bowlers having to travel and do all this in dead middle of winter in Oklahoma and Kansas and Michigan. But, look, I guess beggars can't be choosers at this point when it comes to like bowling tournaments. But I'm happy they are running like a tour-like schedule. You know what I mean? Where these guys can go on the road and bowl for 4, 5, 6 tournaments. Because after the Jackson Classic, they go right to the TOC, Mike, in Fairlawn. So you literally have 2 majors. I mean, when this tour starts at the U.S. Open, I mean, we are going to have bowling for almost a good like 6 weeks. It's crazy because it goes.
Yeah, but here's hold on, time out. Here's a question. Okay. You're saying we're going to have bowling for 6 weeks. I'm not sure how much of those 6 weeks we're actually going to be able to watch bowling. Right.
I don't know what the streaming schedule looks like yet.
Okay, because we don't know what's going to be available streaming wise, right? Then we don't know what the match play is going to look like on TV, or how much of that is going to be covered, or what that's going to look like, right? So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that are up in the air here to me, about this schedule that I don't know how much I can judge it until I see how they plan to execute some of these things that it seems like they have in mind.
Right. But I mean, there is a lot of bowling, Mike. There is a lot of bowling because you look at these dates and these like schedule. After the TOC, and then you go right to the Kokomo Classic in Indiana. I mean, the Midwest is just must be loving this. If you live in the Midwest and you're a professional bowler, you must love this schedule right now because people, I feel bad for a lot of the pros who don't live in this area, to be honest with you. So it goes Kokomo, Indiana, and then right after the Kokomo Classic, you go right to the USBC Masters in Allen Park. And that ends up March 26th, April 2nd.
So a couple comments from the chat here. Matt Westring saying, Tom Clark mentioned on Beef and Barnsley that TOC will be a 17-person stepladder. And then Nico mentioning that the U.S. Open is going to be a 9-player stepladder, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm referring to when I say it's hard for me to see, how well this is going to work when they're trying so many different things. And I like trying different things. I'm not against trying different things. I just need to see how it's executed.
Right. Yeah. That is, obviously great to hear that they are adding like match play for the majors. We've been asking for that for a while. So I'm really happy about that, actually, to that addition. Shouts to the PBA and Bolero if they do it right, and putting more bowling, like actual like content, like of live matches on TV, would be awesome. You got to give props for that. But so after the Masters in Allen Park,
hold on. Yeah. Nico's saying read the TV schedule. Where are you talking about, Nico? Because what I read, I'll be honest, didn't have much information. And normally you can click on the tournaments and it will take you to a page that has additional information, but I didn't see a lot of additional information there.
Could you imagine? I've always wanted to qualify 17th for a step ladder and climb the ladder to win the tournament. Could you imagine? You'd have to win 16 matches to climb the ladder in a row. You'd have to go 16-0 in match play to climb a 17-person step ladder. A 17-person step ladder might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because if you're qualifying below 10, you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance to go 15, 14-0, 13-0.
I don't. I mean, 17-man step ladder seems a little crazy
I
to
don't
me.
believe that. It's gotta
I
be
think
bullshit. It's gotta be
it
bullshit.
if it's 17 people make the show with some kind of different format, I could see that.
Could you
But
imagine?
yeah.
17-person step ladder and you just find a nut and you don't lose. Might be the greatest TV run in the history of. Anyway, I could just see this. Yeah, I don't. We have to see how it plays out before we really give them.
Well,
shit.
this is a fair point from Shep Ramsey and the Chance. So, does that mean that what came out from the Bowlers Journal International schedule, that when it said match play on TV, right? We're all thinking it's going to be actual head-to-head match play, bonus pins, whatever, best of 7, 5, whatever it is. But what if he's right and that's not really the case? And when it says match play, it's actually talking about some extended step ladder or something like that, right? Then that again creates the question of, well, are we going to get streaming up to that point, or not? Or are we only going to get to see quote unquote match play on TV, which isn't traditional match play that we might expect?
Is it safe to say we're gonna try to find out how the PBA is gonna fuck this up?
No, like I said, I'm totally open to new ideas and new ways of presenting the show. And I have, been vocal about saying they need to try new things. But I also think that it's a tough time right now because we're losing the streaming side of it. Right? We're losing the streaming side of how we usually watch. So based on the fact that we don't have that, and now all these changes are going to be implemented as well with how the shows are going to run. It's just a lot to think about how all that is going to be different.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, there is so much bowling here, Mike. We're going to be having a ton of content to talk about because these guys are going to be on the road bowling a lot. Because after the U.S. Masters in Allen Park, then you go right into literally like you have a 5-day break and you go right into the World Series in Milwaukee. And the World Series is literally like from April 7th to April 23rd. I think I read maybe there's 3 Animal Patterns tournaments. And then, yeah, I didn't really get into the details of the World Series, but I can imagine it's probably going to be consistent to what we've seen, and then after that, there's a little bit of a break, a week, and then it goes into April to May. So there's actually going to be more bowling than this. Wow, there's a lot of bowling. I mean, you can't be really mad at this, though. PBA Players Championship in where else? Bolero, North Brunswick, New Jersey. Mike, how psyched were we when this announcement got made that they're bringing back a major?
Yeah, I was mad hype. I'm not gonna lie, I was mad hype. I mean,
they never had a major though at Bolero, right?
Oh, yes, they have at Carolier. Yeah, you come with Pete Weber.
Oh, the
US
Who do you
Open. Think you? I mean, they also had the Masters there for a few.
Sorry,
years.
the U.S. Open was there a bunch of times too.
Yeah,
sorry,
and they had the Masters there too.
I was thinking the Johnny Petraglia Open. It was usually there. You know what I mean? So I didn't put it together. But yeah, no, dude, that's gonna be awesome. And we're trying to make some plans. Maybe we could both go out there for it. Some kind of sweep the rack get together in New Jersey. So people, if you're listening and you want to take some time off for a little vacay, we might be making an appearance for a few days at Carolier. I'm not calling it Bolero. It's going to always be Carolier.
Yeah, well, I have talked all kinds of shit about bring the PBA to Carolier. We'll pack the house. We'll make it a hype event. So, I'm going to have to do what I'm going to have to do when the PBA comes to Carolier. I've already reached out to a few people, Dougie being one of them, making sure that he's getting the wheels going in terms of getting some action with the professionals that are in town. And it's interesting too, Rob, to me, looking at that part of the schedule, because if you notice, they're actually going to be at Carolier for what amounts to a whole week plus an additional weekend, right? So it looks like they're starting around April 1st with the Players Championship. It's going to go that whole week into the weekend, and then They're going to bowl down to the final four, it looks like, or the semifinals, however many people that involves, right?
Yeah.
They're going to bowl down to the semifinals, and then the following weekend they're coming back to have, it looks like, 2 shows for the semifinals and the final. So to me, it sort of looks like the Players' Championship has become a centerpiece event. Is it wrong to say that with the way the schedule is set up and the way that event is? I mean, because what they're doing with that is reminiscent of what they did with the playoffs, right? Where they bowled down to 4, and then those 4 came back and bowled the semifinals and finals, big top prize, etc. So now it looks like they're trying to do that again, but do it with the Players' Championship instead. Am I wrong in saying that? Or
yeah, I was trying to look into that schedule to see what was going on. There's a lot going on there, but I definitely know that it's going to be one weekend for the Final Four, and then there's going to be match play the previous week. And we are talking about coming and putting together an event for our fans and the people. So people might be on the lookout for that. But that'll be awesome just to go down there, watch some bowling, talk to some people, film some content. This is the first time we'll ever probably do a show, maybe even there, if we could get the technical, things right. But I don't know. We'll talk. So if anybody wants to start planning a trip to Carolier that week, April 30th to May 7th, I would imagine it would probably be that May 7th weekend. And my birthday is the next week. So, hey, we might have to celebrate that too. So anyway, yeah, man, PBA Players Championship, Carolier, it's going to be a crazy event. I know all the people from New Jersey and New York and stuff all love coming out to support the PBA. It's always been a big following in the East Coast. I wish we could go back to the days of the Giant Petragula Open when we were 17, 16, 15 years old. Wall-to-wall people watching Friday night match play. The round robin was always like my favorite, like Friday night to go down there. So yeah, people, keep that week on your radar. So you got a lot of notice here to tell the wife, the kids, the husband, work, that you're going to need those days off.
Yeah, so a couple things here in the chat. Robert Hamilton saying STR show from Carolier. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If we can make that happen, we would definitely make that happen. Frank Diddy saying, yes, I said that I would tailgate an event at Carolier. Absolutely, we're having a tailgate as long as I'm allowed to legally make that happen. I'm showing up with my speaker. I'm showing up with beer. I'm showing up with hot dogs and hamburgers and a grill. And I will be in the parking lot of Carolier for anyone who wants to come celebrate bowling with me. Kevin Weeks asking, how much your ticket price for a pro event at Carolier? Kevin, if things work out the way I want them to for all of us, for the Sweep the Rack crew, it's going to be free, Kevin. It's going to be free. We're walking up in there free, VIP style, front row, okay? Bringing the noise, all right? So, just letting people know. Yeah, we plan on throwing down when the PBA Players Championship comes to Carolier. Because, am I wrong, Rob, that sort of wraps up the season as well?
No, because after the Players Championship, you go. They'll be having the Roth Holman doubles actually in Delaware.
Okay, all right, but that's all right, but that's not a traditional event.
The Super Slam will be the next weekend, my birthday weekend, the May 19th to the 21st in Jupiter, Florida. And then that's when it kind of goes on a little bit of a month break to the PBA Tour Finals, which goes to Washington.
No, but here was my point. That PBA Players Championship is the last major of the season. It's the last big standard event of the season. Okay. Yeah. Like when you're talking about the doubles event and you're talking about the Super Slam is going to be a limited field based on who wins other events throughout the year. So yeah, like that PBA Players Championship at Carolier is going to be, a showpiece event, I would imagine, to kind of wrap up the regular traditional season, so to speak.
Yeah, and they do a lot of bowling, Mike. I mean, now that I'm really like diving into the schedule, just talking about it out loud instead of reading it, there is a ton of bowling that's going to be happening from the get-go, all up until that Players Championship. And then, yeah, you're going to have, the PB, there's a PBA League Bowler Certification National Championship Clash. I mean, that'll be interesting to like see what they plan on doing with that. But you know what the funny thing is, Mike? I bowl in a Bolero league. They have not yet once publicized, made an announcement, even gave a flyer for the PBA League Bowler Certification.
Right.
I mean, you would think that they would be hammering and marketing this thing down your throats when you're trying to bowl league there in Bolero, but they haven't even made an announcement. Mike. So it just shows you how unorganized the Bolero corporate office is with the actually like bowling centers.
Yeah, with the people on the ground. Nico asking, did you guys notice they got rid of the playoffs to add additional shows to the majors? Come on, Nico. What do you mean? Did we notice they got rid of the playoffs? Of course we noticed they got rid of the playoffs. It honestly, it's one of the things that I hate the most about this schedule. I thought that was a really good product. I thought that the playoffs was an opportunity for them to focus in on players, present their stories, have multiple shows, bowl it down to a semifinal, kind of know where it was going and promote the guys who were going to be there at the end. So I was really surprised to see them get rid of it. But hopefully, like I said, I'm also open to trying different things with the shows and these various different match play shows that they're going to have or changes to the step ladders. I'm on board with that. So if that means sacrificing the playoffs, which let's be honest, wasn't even a title to start and certainly wasn't something that was going to rise to the level of a major, then I'm okay with that. Here's the other $1 million question to me, really, and that's kind of a pun, but it's an intentional pun. I couldn't find anything, Rob, on what the prize funds for these tournaments are going to look like.
Dum dum dum, and there it is.
Anybody?
The matzo ball hanging out, Mike. What are they doing with the prize funds? Where's the money going?
Right. So I did ask around a little bit, and I heard this.
Okay.
The prize funds for the non-televised events, right? For the quote unquote streaming only events, even though we don't know what that's going to look like, those are actually going to be higher this year. Okay. Yeah. The standard events will be $150,000. Okay. Which means the first place will probably be around $30,000. That's really right. Good. So that's really a little bit higher than traditionally what it is. So that's good news, right?
I can't be mad at that when they were offering like 10,000 on previous
Well, I think they were 20. I think they were up to 20. Now they'll be 30. It's still good. Still an improvement, right? But at the same time, the playoffs was $100,000 for first. Okay, huge prize pool for the playoffs. All right, where's that going? Players Championship 2 years ago was $250,000. Right. Last year, I believe it was 100,000, if I'm correct.
I think so.
Okay. So what's where's that prize fund going to be? In order for me to really judge this schedule, I gotta see the first place prizes to a lot of these events. Like Nico was just mentioning in the chat that Tom Clark said they want to focus on the majors. That's clear from the schedule, and I'm on board with that. I'm okay with that. But are we increasing the prize funds of those majors to make them more of a centerpiece event? Right. If we're taking some tournaments off of the back end, are we then using that to increase some of the prizes for these other events? Like I loved that Players Championship that had a $250,000 first prize. I mean, I thought that was really interesting watching guys bowl for that much money. I'm not saying that. Right. I'm not saying that that's always attainable or should become the norm. But, again, if we're taking away an event like the playoffs, right, and not really replacing it with anything of substance that we didn't already have, then I would imagine that, expecting some of those tournaments to have a bigger first place prize wouldn't be so far-fetched. Now, what I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see, either extra events or limited field events get extra prize funds or additions to the prize funds. I want to see the money go to tournaments where everybody can get in, not the ones where it's 8 guys who have already won something.
We'll see. The money is big, but I mean, just looking at the schedule, yes, the playoffs aren't there anymore. But I mean, there is going to be a lot of bowling, and there is going to be a lot of stuff going on in 2023. I mean, you can't be mad at it. So after the PBA League Bowler certification, there's a PBA Skill Ball Challenge, which I don't mind events like that. I think skill challenges are interesting to the lower level, like mid to low casual type fan, right? They like to see the skill balls and to see the trick shots. I think that's always an interesting show. And I know you might disagree with me there, but I always thought that you really should have a trick shot show somewhere in the schedule, because I think that is interesting to the common fan or casual fan. And then after the Skill Ball Challenge in July, which is back in Michigan, it goes PBA striking against breast cancer mixed doubles in Houston, which is, I like that event every year. And then the schedule ends with the Elias Cup back to Bayside Bowl. Can't be mad at that. Love Portland, Maine. And that's going to be for about 4 days. That's a shorter time than normal, I believe. Normally they would be out there for like a week or two doing a lot of different things, but it seems like they cut down the league this year for till about 4 days. So I mean, what do you think about the schedule ending with the Elias Cup in September? Like, it literally goes on break. The mixed doubles is July 30th, and then you don't see bowling until September. So what do you think about them?
Well, it's interesting to me because I thought that, the way Fox was using bowling in a way was to fill a lot of time, especially during the summer, with something like the PBA League. This past year, they sort of used those events, the PBA League, the Strike Derby, the Clash thing. They would re-air them a lot throughout the summer once they aired, right? They took place during the summer, they were taped during the summer, and then they would air them all throughout the summer. Now, I know there's going to be some events during the summer, but the league is actually moving to September. Yeah. Right. So, I don't know what that reflects, but it's definitely something that I notice. I don't know what's changed, or perhaps Fox isn't planning to use it for as much reprogramming in the summer, or maybe some of those events that are going to take place later in the schedule or in the summer are going to be rebroadcast on Fox. Listen, again, there's a lot of change here. I think that's the key word in the schedule change.
I've been getting corrected in the chat, and I'm glad people are checking me in the chat. The Skill Ball Challenge isn't what I thought it was going to be. The Skill Ball Challenge is something where there's a tournament, they're all going to be using the same ball.
Right.
Is that going to be a generic, like, high performance ball that the PBA is going to give out? Like, how are they going to do that?
It's a PBA skill ball, yeah.
It's a skill, so they're making a PBA skill ball. Do we know?
Well, they already have it because the Teen Masters uses it.
Oh, what was it? Was it a urethane or
I think one's urethane, one's reactive, I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was maybe it was urethane and plastic. I'm not 100% sure.
Interesting. I mean, I mean, that's a little bit different,
it's a little gimmicky to me, though. It is. It's a little gimmicky. I want to bring up a comment from Nico here. Nico's on fire tonight. They cut out the Derby and the Clash. Okay, yeah, I would look at that as a positive. The less gimmick events we have, the better. Let's focus on the real events. That's always been my point.
Well, the streaming service is good to me. Is the next thing that has to be like released, and it has like, I really interested to see what they're going to do with that.
Okay. Tom Clark said they wanted the PBA League to be at a time when people are going back to league bowling, but I know. And again, like, I don't know why that doesn't even come close to answering my question or connecting to why there would be less shows, right, for the PBA League. Like last year, there were a lot of shows for the PBA League. It was almost a focus. Now it seems to be less of a focus this year with less shows. So again, listen, a lot of change. I'm open to change, though. We need to try different things.
Does anybody know what manufacturer made the skill ball?
I do not know.
That's a good question, though. Does anybody know? I'd be curious to see if that came from what ball company it came from. Man, we're getting a lot of spam tonight.
Yeah, some of it was from my students.
Yeah.
They're weirdos. They stalk me.
Anyway, so final thoughts on the schedule, Mike.
Yeah, have to wait and see. Have to wait and see. It's going to
Money
be
is
an interesting
streaming, right?
season. Here's one thing I like that I haven't said yet.
Yeah, I doubt that. Some big bowling
Big
stuff
bowling.
made
Yeah.
this Skill Ball challenge. No, I doubt that.
I like that it from the look of the schedule. There's going to be several opportunities where bowling is going to be on for several nights in a row, and I like that. I think that's always good because you get a chance to hook people in, and have them watch numerous nights in a row, and perhaps then start following a little bit. So, yeah, interesting. It'll be interesting to see how these changes work out and what this looks like when it's executed, right? And I want to see what these shows, because it's not like the PBA has a huge background in doing these quote unquote match play type shows or anything that really deviates from your standard step ladder show, right? Like you can count on one hand how many times they've gone outside of that over, let's say, the last 15 years or so. Like I remember there was a U.S. Open at Carolier. Actually, I think Nico may have put it out on Twitter this week, or somebody put it out on Twitter this week. Maybe actually it might have been Jimmy from the Ringing 10 who put it out on Twitter this week. But he put out a video that had the last time they put match play on TV, which was a U.S. Open at Carolier, and it was cool and it was interesting, but it was tough because you were coming into it in the middle of it. Right, if they had an 8-game block, right, you were coming into it in game 5, basically watching 5, 6, 7, 8. So I don't know how they're going to do this and what it's going to look like. I do notice that some of the times are kind of awkward if you look at the schedule. Like for instance, I think there's one of the match play blocks is starting on TV at 10:30 at night or 10 p.m. at night, from what I saw on the schedule. And I don't know if that's a misprint or not, but that seems kind of odd to me a little bit. But
that's gonna be the art.
I gotta watch. I gotta see what it looks like, right? I have to see what these changes are going to look like when they're executed. But I hope that the changes to the schedule aren't the only thing that they're willing to change. I hope they're willing to make other adjustments to the show or the production of the show or the way that the show is done to perhaps coincide with some of these other changes. To how we're going to watch bowling or how we're going to watch a professional bowling tournament be decided.
Yeah, and if I was to give input to the PBA on how they should do live match play, to me, I think there's really only one way to do it, and just you have a film crew go from match to match, commentate one booth, right? Kind of, people don't like comparisons with golf, right? But essentially, golf, has film crews following the top usually 10 in the field, and maybe a couple pros that people want to watch, like a Tiger Woods if he's in the cut, whatever, and they'll show every shot, and they'll go back and forth between holes, right? I think you have the opportunity to do that with bowling because there is time between shots, so you could go back and forth between 2 or 3 matches, and if you have a really solid commentating booth that could follow along with the scores and give the people really what's going on, you're able to watch 2, 3 matches at once, from one literally screen, and they would just have to be able to manage it going back and forth. To me, that's the way you do it, but you need the commentating crew to really be on top of their game, updating scores, updating the audience on what needs to happen, and really, really do a good job on that. But it is possible, and I think that's the way to do it, in my
opinion. It's tough. It's tough. Like I said, how much time you got? How many games you covering? Most match play blocks, Rob, are 8 games, right? I mean, that's usually your traditional 8-game match play block. So how many you ain't covering 8 games? Because that's 4 hours, right? I don't think they're going to get a 4-hour block on FS1 or Fox to cover match play like that. That would be beautiful. I mean, that would be amazing if they were able to do that, right?
Me and Jeremy are on the same page here. With the live PBA match play, hopefully the show they show the pros frying out instead of them being goodies. Wouldn't it be amazing on Fox to be able to get a live Chris Collins fry out, or Tom Hess like headbutting a bowling ball like on live TV. Now we're talking my speed, Mike.
Yeah, when he said that, I actually thought, ooh, maybe there'll be a throwing a match accusation from one player to another, and a fist fight breaks out. Rob would love that.
Oh,
Rob would be all about that. But back to my point about how to do this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not an expert in TV production. I don't know what works and what doesn't. I'll tell you what I would want to see. I would want to see 4 different boxes on the screen. Okay? 4 different boxes on the screen that each game are featuring one match in each box. So essentially your screen is split into 4. You're watching 4 different matches, no commentators on the screen, but the commentators are commenting on all the matches at once, right? And ideally, it would be matches that are synced up with each other so that there's never really a lull in the action where somebody's always up on the lane bowling, but nobody's ever up on the lane at the same time. That to me, that's the prime way to present something like match play in that format.
Yeah, like PBA Red Zone. And I'm just about to say that, Kevin. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be 4 matches. I mean, it could even be 3 if 4 was too many, right? Like you just start maybe at 2 or 3. And
say it's 3 with the commentators, and they're cut, and you have 3. But here, and Kevin brings up the Red Zone idea. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And then you don't have to stick with those matches throughout the whole game. If you know there's another good match going on somewhere else, you can say, okay, folks, this match between player A and player B is obviously going to be player A here. They're going to win. We see that. We're going to switch over to this other match that's tight right now. And here's what we have going on. We're in the 7th frame with player X and player Y, and this is the situation, right? And do that.
I'll let you mic up the pros too.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind it. Could you
imagine micing up Simonson?
Yeah, any kind of inside look that you can give the fans, I think, is a good thing and a positive thing
for sure. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, schedule's released finally.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how some of these events are executed, right, and how they're produced, and they're coming back to Carolier. So
here. Rob Stone couldn't handle 4 matches. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, like, be it like Rob Stone gets a lot of criticism for, bowling stuff, like what he does, but he's a professional, like, commentator. I would actually, out of all the people doing it, I would expect him to be able to handle it more than Randy would.
I'll be honest. I actually think that kind of environment that has 3 matches going on at once might actually be better for a Rob Stone.
Well, yeah, because he's a professional.
And he sort of has that ability to notice what the hype thing is and point out the thing that's interesting to the common viewer. So if he's watching 3 matches at a time, he's going to easily be able to identify, well, this is what the common viewer wants to see. They want to see this match for this reason. Let's focus in on that match, right? And I could see him just his excitement level from bouncing around and having 3 matches going on at once. I think that would kind of play into his, the level of energy that he brings on the show for sure.
They should bring in the guy from Red Zone. What's his name with the big ears?
He's Siciliano, Andrew Siciliano.
There's nobody better, honestly. He does an amazing job on Red Zone. He does. Could you imagine they actually
that's sort of what I have in mind,
right?
If for these match play shows.
I think about what Red Zone does is obviously the NFL is like billions of dollars, where they have all their commentating booths, right, for each game, and then they cut to the game and then they play the commentating for that game. So essentially they have, how many games they have, and they have commentators all over the place. It's tough for asking one commentating crew to do, 3 or 4.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, and all of these things we're talking about, they're all issues about how to produce the show, right, and how to execute the show. And I don't know. I really don't know what they have in mind. But I think, again, one of the keys that we're talking about is showing people as much action as you can, and also having somebody in the field, right, out in the field, who can tell you where the action is that you have to go to.
Yeah, that's big.
Okay, that's
someone who knows what they're doing.
That's it. Somebody who knows what to look for and saying, like, I mean, I hate to say this, but somebody like me or you who could walk around and tell them, all right, this is going on down here. You need to bring this match up by this frame because this is a big one, or this is going on down here. Oh, so-and-so's bowling really bad and is frying out down here. Bring that up for a few minutes. And really, to me, that's what they should be trying to do, is feature the most interesting match or 2 or 3 going on at that time. Don't bore people. Don't bore people with a 260 to 190 match play game. Okay, take that off. Put something else on that's going to keep people's attention in that moment, because the people ain't really going to know the bowlers all that well. Like, watching one match to another match is going to be the same to them. It's going to be about the drama and what's going on in the match. So I'm really interested in how they pull this off. I am. I'm really interested to see what they do here and how this looks and what it looks like. I'm hoping for the best. I am. I'm hoping for the best. But all right, Rob, are we done with our schedule conversation for now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So to our next deal here, we last week improv. Literally, we didn't even talk about this prior to the show. But
hold on. Wait a second.
No,
we have a comment in the chat. We have a comment in the chat that I can't ignore.
I know you could.
Live betting on match play on FanDuel.
It's pretty obvious.
Kevin, preach to me, please. Like, this is so obvious at this point that now if you're going to start showing multiple days of match play of bowling on television, like, please, let's get the betting end of this worked out. Let's get the betting end of let me bet on all 8 matches at one time in a match play round. Please
don't let this kid do it for his.
Oh my goodness gracious sakes! Oh my goodness! You know what? I'll become a VIP on DraftKings because I will just be dumping money in there.
They would love you.
Terrible. All right, okay. Let's continue on.
So last week we called out for pro shop horror stories and customer horror stories. We promised our audience and our people that we would be anonymous, that we wouldn't say who it was.
Nope.
And we had a lot of people actually email us some of their best pro shop horror customer stories. And this will piggyback off of Worst of the Week because this is very similar to Worst of the Week. But this is actual real life pro shop customer stories. So
it's worst pro shop experiences of the week.
So we're gonna read a few, and we're gonna laugh, and everyone's gonna laugh, and then we're gonna go to Worst of the Week. But dude, this is kind of cracking me up. So I think one of my favorite ones is this got emailed over. Customer walks in. Sorry, it's late, but I'm having a hard time holding on to my ball and wanted to see if you had anything that could help. Pro shop operator. Sure, no problem. Are the holes too big, slippery? Do you own tape? He examines the ball and comes back that the ball has no holes in it. Sir, there's no holes in this ball. Customer. Yeah, people told me that the value of the ball is cut in half if you put holes in it. So why would I do that? Internal. He says, maybe to hold on to it. Well, the guy's like, well, if you're drilling holes, perhaps some rosin or maybe a glove. He tells the pro shop. He tells the customer. Customer then responds, finds extra grip gloves. And yes, that's gloves plural. These are awesome. So literally, instead of drilling holes, the guy got 2 gloves and now is throwing it with no holes in it.
I got to give that guy credit. He might be on something there, especially if you're going to go two-handed. Why even put holes in the ball? This way, if you don't like the ball, you can just sell it as new.
I'm pretty certain, and I could be wrong, and I might get fact-checked about this, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm pretty sure you have to have holes drilled in the ball. Okay.
It is.
I was going to say, if that's
But I'm saying, though, you go out, you throw it a few games in practice, you see what does it do, and then if you don't like it, you clean it off, and you say, oh, yeah, it's brand new.
Dude, you could go a step further. You could bowl literally 100 games, resurface it, shine it up, and then put it on eBay, undrilled bowling ball.
Undrilled gem.
400
for this John.
Longer and stronger, too.
Yep.
Than, Oh, this Lumberflexual always has some good comments. What if you don't have fingers? I mean, hate to say it, but Roy Munson bowled the Odor Eaters Classic with no hands. So, I mean, hey, could happen. Could be done. But I have seen actually a bowler bowl. There was a video out there of somebody who had no hands, and he was bowling with like hooks. And he would take the ball and he would actually throw and he would bowl. And he was actually, bowling as good as you could be with hooks. It's pretty incredible. If anybody has that video,
Nico's claiming someone was bowling with a spare ball with no holes. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, Nico. I'd have to check that. I'd have to double check that.
Okay, so the next pro shop story I have is guy walks into the shop and we have all the bowling balls displayed on the wall per usual. He walks up to the Storm Rocket, picks it up and shelf, and proceeds to take the biggest whiff out of this bowling ball. Smelt it like I've never seen someone smell anything before, and then proceeds to walk out. The funny thing, he's not a word said by anyone. This guy just literally walked in a pro shop, smelled the ball. Like I could just picture him like Scarface in that scene of him like burying his head in the coke and then looking around and just like feeling like he just like, I don't know, got off or something, and then like walks out of the pro shop.
Everybody in the chat is saying that this kid threw a no hole ball on the PBA Junior National show. That's wild.
Is that legal? I guess
I don't know. I didn't think it was.
I guess it's. Hey, fact checkers. I know we're gonna find out pretty soon. So,
that's wild.
The gentleman actually I was talking about bowls in my neck of the woods. He bowls at Mesa East on a senior league, no hands or legs. That's amazing. My favorite pro shop story. Jeremy Mooney says, I was watching the shop. Guy comes in and asks if we carry Jordans. By the way, a couple guys in my league that bowl with me and my team have made Jordans into bowling shoes, and they're pretty sick J's. So yeah, I mean, it can be done if you have the will, right? There's a way. So Mike, those are two of our favorite good pro shop stories. We'll continue to every week call out our best. Email us sweeptherack@gmail.com or Facebook us. Throw us a DM in the tweet. Any pro shop stories you guys have, we'll read it out.
I'll share one of my own. I have so many funny memories and moments from hanging in pro shops, but one of the things that I remember most is like the guy who owned the pro shop that I hung out in for most of my young bowling life was a guy named Rick Alexander. Shout to Rick Alexander, 10th Frame Pro Shop in Thunderbird Lanes in Philly. But guys used to come in, Rob, and like they would be knuckling the thumb like this. Okay, like their thumb would be going in the ball like that. All right, and they would come in and they'd be like, "Yo, Rick, my thumb's a little tight. My thumb's a little tight, And he would open it up and he would open it up, and then they'd leave and he would be like, "Listen, if you put your thumb in the ball like this, no drill bit that I drill it with is going to be big enough for you. It doesn't matter." And they're literally putting their thumb in, knuckling it. Like it's just, stuff I remember that just people used to come in with the craziest stuff, the craziest perspectives on things. They didn't want it done the right way. They want it done their way.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have I worked in the pro shop where someone would come in and ask me my advice on something, and then I would give it to them, and then they would disagree with me and tell me I was wrong. So why the hell are you coming in here asking for my advice? Like, literally, like you just wanted to argue with me. People just love to argue.
Mark Burright saying, Bray, the science kid from Storm, bowls with 2 sticky gloves. What? I have no idea who that even is. You're blowing my mind here tonight, people. People are out there bowling with sticky gloves, son? What is going on, son? Come on. Put some holes in the ball, yo. For real. Put your fingers in that, John.
You ready? You ready to get it?
Let's give the people what they want. Oh, good gracious, Rob. Goodness gracious.
Tired.
I am.
I'm gonna go into a worst of the week that got sent to us this week, which I know is gonna hit home with Mike here. Mike's gonna like this worst of the week. Worst of the week goes to Chestnut Lanes. I don't know where Chestnut Lanes is or where they're at, but if you see the owner or proprietor or the people running Chestnut Lanes, tell them that they won worst of the week, because this post was the worst of the week. This could be maybe the worst of the year, honestly. So I'm going to read it. They posted this on their Facebook page. The scratch tournament shot will be house. Myself and main contributor to the guaranteed $3,000 Source Bowling have had numerous conversations on this subject matter. The dream of this tournament was to bring the best of the best in the tri-state area and watch the pins fly. This faculty the facility in its current state is conducive to produce great scores. Those scores will calm down over time. What's the point to bring the best into an environment that's primed for the picking and watch them struggle? In the future, obviously, adding 2 touring pros made the decision even easier. If we lay down a sports shot, you might as well hand them one of the 3K. We thought that a house pattern would bring way more people into play. Depending on what pattern you lay, you're gonna gain and lose entries on that decision. But such is life as a business owner. We are gonna roll with the house and let the scores be wide open. Can't wait for a fun weekend. This right here, this is why bowling is fucked up. This post literally is why we're in the state that we're in right now in the high bowling competitive world. Because these people who run Chestnut Lanes, they don't give a shit about the integrity. They don't give a shit about scores, challenges. They don't care. They want to bring in people. They want to get as many entries as they can. So they think in their own worlds that putting a house shot is actually the way to do that. Chestnut Lanes, worst of the week. My opinion, you might get worst of the year. If you're the proprietor, if anybody, who knows, maybe you're in our chat. Hit us up on our email. I would love to have you on this Wednesday, and let's talk about this decision and why you guys made it.
I wish there was a button we had here that we could phone someone and call them, because I would call Chestnut Lanes right now and be like,
Give us the number. Hey,
what
Wednesday,
the hell are you doing?
I'll call them Wednesday. I'm going to Google Chestnut Lanes. We're going to get the number. We're going to call them Wednesday on air, and we're going to talk to whoever they're running the Chestnut Lanes.
The best part of that post is that they're basically saying we're going to do what we can to make sure that the professionals don't win. We're going to do what we can to make sure that the most skilled people that show up for our event don't win. I don't know. I mean, doesn't seem very fair to me. All right, here's my worst of the week. It's from the Hammer Bowling. Oh, and you know what? I got to say something. My wife kicked me off of Facebook this weekend. So, folks, you got to send me worst of the week material, because I'm not going to be on Facebook anymore. My wife kicked me off her account. She changed the password on me.
You find with
teachers? No. Here's what I did. We have this bigot, bully, online tough guy, running for Board of Education in Monroe, and right now where I live. So this. Long story short, this guy caused such a scene on Facebook in the town that people put out a petition against him. And they sent a bunch of screenshots of some of his antics online to the biggest newspaper in New Jersey, and that paper published an article about him. And it's still online. It's still available. You can Google it. His name is Peter Tufano. If you guys want to Google it and look it up, feel free to hit him up on Facebook too. Feel free to go out there and hit him up and post this on his page. But there's an article out there about his behavior online and how a petition was put out against him, and he wouldn't resign. He wouldn't step down. So every time he goes on our local Facebook pages and posts his Tufano for Board of Education thing, I then go on and comment with a screenshot of the article about him saying bigoted and racist and crazy things online. And then he ends up taking the post down. All right. So no one can see it. So That's what she got angry at me for.
Dude,
She
that's
got
awesome.
she got really pissed at me.
I
And
love it. You're standing up for truth and justice here. You're the man of the people, Mike. The New Jersey parents must love you or hate you, but
I hate bullies, yo. I do. I hate bullies. I hate
Don't
people
worry,
that.
we're about to bully Chestnut Lanes into putting on a sports shot though. So.
No, not really. But yeah, so it's that I'm not on Facebook is the bottom line. So send me worst of the week content. Here's something I got. This is from the Hammer Bowling Facebook group. It's now this is interesting. It's posted by Richard Allen. Richard Allen. I know it could be probably coincidence. I know it's probably not him, but it could be coincidence.
I saw this post.
Here's the post. Everyone should own a Scorpion Sting. I'm going to repeat that. Everyone should own a Scorpion Sting. Drilled on release week, and I have games of $299, $299, and $296. Also an $835 with it last night. Richard Allen, congratulations, son. You won worst of the week. Everyone should drill a Scorpion Sting because you bowled a few good games with it in your home house. Come on, son.
I think
read the room, son. Get a clue. Get a clue. Everyone needs a Scorpion Sting. Did everyone hear that? Stop what you are doing, okay? Turn this off right now. Go to your local pro shop, even if they're closed. If they're closed, wait outside all night. Sleep outside because Richard Allen says everybody needs a Scorpion Sting.
I might drill 10 of them right
10
now.
of them? Okay.
10 of them.
All right.
Because
Tomorrow, I'm saying.
Yeah. I figured if he shot 835 with those and I drill 10 of them, then I'll just be able to shoot 830, 800 every week for like the next 10
if
years.
he shot 835 and you drilled 10 of them, you're going to shoot 8,350.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The math adds up.
Makes sense.
Jesus Christ.
Rob, in the time that you put that graphic up, I opened up another tab on my computer, took a personal day for tomorrow, and made an appointment at the pro shop to go drill a Scorpion Sting, at least one.
Oh.
So, Richard Allen, thank you, son.
You're going to win all three pots.
Thank you for posting your $299, $299, $296, $835.
Yo, Clint's getting one. Kevin's getting one.
We just sold like 35 balls.
I know we should get
worst of the week.
Right?
Where's it at? Where's it at, son? Where's our check, son?
Should send that in the mail.
All right, final thought, Rob. We both have the same final thought this week. We're gonna harp on the same subject for final thought this week. Go ahead.
So the USBC Masters entry opened up, or the entries opened up, and they sold out the entries. And I've heard different reports of how long it took to sell out. I heard it was an hour, or I heard 6 hours. Either way, it maxed at 390. So they sold out at 390. When I heard this, and you follow me on Twitter, you know that I put out a post saying, look, let's be real, right? How many of those 390 entries actually really should be there? Okay. Now, I'm not going to be down because we always harp on, telling people they need to challenge themselves and go bowl on tougher shots, right? I guess what I'm more agitated is the fact that I'm fine with letting people bowl the Masters. I think there should be a little bit of a stricter either qualifying to get into the main tournament, or there has to be some kind of a little bit of a stricter eligibility. And I've heard people arguing with me in regards to, we don't want to turn down entries, and we don't want to make, it hard for people to want to bowl. And yeah, that could be true, right? But if the tournament is going to sell out, Mike, in an hour or 6 hours, then obviously they're not struggling for entries. So either they need to, look, opening up the entries doesn't really solve the one part of the argument that I have as regards to the actual quality of bowlers that are bowling the Masters, because I don't feel like anybody who averages 130 at the Masters, which there will be this year, there always is, should be essentially bowling next to the best in the world. And we see it every year at the Masters and the US Open, where you got guys that are averaging 115 and 125 that have the ability to cross with Jason Belmonte, who congrats won PBA Player of the Year. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday's show. But yeah, I mean, I just think there's got to be a little bit more of a stricter eligibility. Now, how you do that, I haven't really figured that out. I haven't really put some thought into that, but there has to be something, Mike. I mean, and I think we've talked about this before, but there's probably a lot of great bowlers that got shut out of this event because of the fact where you have like guys that are going to average like 130, like that signed up.
To me, what it reflects is the ass backwardness of bowling in general, of the bowling community
I meant Thursday
in general.
Night. Sorry, Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. Yeah, no, we're Thursday. We're back to Thursday this week. It just really, to me, reflects the kind of ass backward nature of the bowling community in general. Because, listen, so Nico just asked in the chat, like, do we think that having it in the Detroit area has anything to do with that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Detroit's a great bowling area, right? It's going to support, it's going to support bowling. I mean, the only place I can think of, honestly, Rob, that's going to come out in droves like that for a major is out here, on the East Coast, right? So you have it in Detroit, you have it on the East Coast. You're definitely going to get that. Right. With that said, okay, I don't understand how and I don't know Detroit area. You were in Michigan out there a little bit, Rob, so you probably know it a little bit better than me. But I would be hard pressed to believe that if you have a sports shot event in the Detroit area on a regular given weekend, that you're going to get all these guys who are going to come out and bowl the Masters locally to come out and bowl an event like that, right? And you have a lot of people who have very little interest or no interest in bowling in the competitive sport environment in a regular basis or a league basis or a local basis, so to speak. But then when it comes to something like this, they're more than willing to sign up and throw their money in and burn it up, and I just don't understand that. Is it because it's the prestige of saying I bowled the Masters?
Yes.
Regardless of how bad you bowled?
Yes. Yes. It's essentially people just want to tell everybody that they're bowling the Masters. And look, there are people that want to go challenge themselves. And from my experiences bowling in Detroit, and I'm talking this is like 10 years ago, most of the conditions we bowled on in Detroit, the Michigan majors, the Northern majors, any of the big main scratch events were all on house. It was all easy. They were all really high scoring. I know Brian Reagan at the time when I was there was starting up a sport like tournament, and they weren't really getting a lot of entries. He was struggling getting like 15, 20, 25 entries. I think it's changed now. I think Clint Harris just, brought up in the chat. He's living in Detroit. He's from that area. They're getting more entries, and I believe that's the case. But I do, from my experiences, just bowling all up and down the Detroit area, very high scores, bowling centers, house shots were super easy. But dude, like, first off, I don't know about cutting like the entries off. Thunder Bowl is a huge bowling center.
I don't care about 400 entries. That's great. But who is it? Who's the 400? I mean, I love it. I love a good dumpster dive though. So I ain't gonna hate on a good dumpster dive. Might be my only opportunity for the year to really dive deep in the dumpster and really get in there and get around.
I'm gonna be smelling of trash.
Oh, I can't wait for that week, baby. I'm gonna start at the bottom of the standings and work my way up.
But my thing is like why couldn't they just run maybe a 10-game qualifier or like a 2-day 14-game qualifier where you essentially exempt 50 pros in the national points, 10 pros from each PBA region who are high in points, give them
you exempt anybody with a title, you exempt anybody with a regional title,
Eagles, all that stuff. You give it exemptions out, and then anybody left who isn't essentially exempt, Then you let anybody who wants to try to bowl, give them a longer format so they feel like if they're going to go there, they're going to get their money's worth. You don't want to do like a 8-game qualifier, right? You want to do like a longer format, give like a 14-game, 2-day qualifier, and then you take the top, whatever, 1 in 5 or 1 in 6, and then you let them bowl so you get rid of the 120 average and the 130 average. And I'm just shooting shit. I'm just, saying.
Yeah, at the same time, the Masters does have that history of having guys who are no-name amateur local players. I use that in quotes actually because they're really good players in most cases, but who shoot through and make the show. But I think even in a qualifying environment that you're talking about, those guys would still likely make it through. So yeah, I mean, it does get a little silly though, but I'm all for it. Like I said, I love the dumpster diving, so I ain't gonna hate on it. Hey, people, keep signing up. Give me more material. I love it.
It's funny. All right, Mike.
All right, Rob, are we good?
We're good. I think
satisfied the people. We came on a Sunday night to talk about PBA schedule and this and that, and make sure everybody got what they needed, got their input. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, there's not. I'll end with this. There's not a lot to say about the schedule just yet because number one, I can't see how much they're paying for a lot of these events, and number two, there's going to be a lot of changes. So we're going to have to see what these shows look like and how to execute them. My first thoughts on these shows won't come until after that U.S. Open, when we really see what does it look like on TV. How do they do it? Did I enjoy it or did I not? Is one of those shows the one that's at like 10:30 at night? So again, like, what's that going to be like? Am I even going to be able to catch that or no?
So here's my thought on the one thing they did mention in like a little blurb is they didn't really talk about a lot of any new sponsors that they've brought on.
No.
Now, I would imagine like a schedule like this now, they could go and sell it like to some more sponsors and say, look, like we have bowling on, for 6 months and we have, 15 TV shows and, 8 streaming, I feel like now they have something on paper that they can go out and try to sell some more advertising or sponsors. So that would be my thought is like, are they bringing in new sponsors?
Robert Hamilton asking if we're going to do live streams during majors. Yeah, definitely, Robert. We'll definitely be popping on there and doing our thing. Here, Nico with another fair point. Like the U.S. Open match play, some of it is at 4 p.m. for the first half of the stepladder.
I like that.
All right, yeah, but I'm saying, like, to you, 4 p.m., if that's Eastern, that's going to be like 1 o'clock out by you.
Yeah, that's not good if it's
that's what I'm saying. Like we have to see, we have to kind of judge as we go along here. It's going to be a very different experience in watching bowling this year with the way they're doing things. But again, I want to be clear here because everybody accused me of being negative. I'm open to this. I'm I'm going into this with a positive outlook, and we'll see how it turns out. So, guys, thanks for joining us. We always appreciate people joining us. We had a good crowd tonight. Sunday nights are a good night. Personally, I can't wait for the PBA tour to start up. I can't wait. I miss our rundowns. We'll have
to come up with the new ones this year.
Yeah, I miss our rundowns with who you riding with. Who you riding with. Dumpster diving. I see you, son. I can't wait to give out some I see you sons. I love I see you sons. So yeah, I'm excited for it to start back up. And man, we got a little bit longer to wait. They pushed it back a month as well, so we definitely have some more time to wait. But listen, we appreciate everybody joining us.
Yep,
hit us up on social media at the 215th on Twitter. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. That's usually where we do our back and forth. Hit us up through email, sweeptherack@gmail. If you want a rosin bag, hit us up for a rosin bag. We got you. If you have a pro shop story, pro shop horror stories, definitely hit us up and give us those. We'll feature you on the show, totally anonymous. But guys, appreciate it as always. Rob, we're back on Thursday night, right? Thursday night, 8 p.m. We'll be back. We'll be talking a little end of the year awards. Shout to Belmo the GOAT, getting another Player of the Year award. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday night, folks. All right, sorry, I was absent on Thursday. Okay, my bad. I'll try not to let it happen again. All right, I'll have a league report for everybody on Thursday too, because I'm bowling on Tuesday. So yeah, definitely don't hit me up on Facebook. Don't hit me up on Facebook because I ain't allowed on there anymore. I'm booted. I'm kicked off. I'm banned. So don't hit me up there. But all right, guys, have a good week. We'll see you on Thursday.
Peace.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.